Nebraska led the nation in red meat production for 2016. This state accounted for 16% of the U.S. total, ahead of Iowa, which contributed 14% of the nation's red meat. Kansas, Texas, and Illinois rounded out the top 5. About 2 years ago, we talked about a legislative bill, LB 106, aimed at helping county officials and livestock producers with new developments. The result is the Livestock Siting Assessment Matrix, which Dodge County became the first to adopt in March. We recently talked with Nebraska Department of Ag Director Greg Ibach about the matrix and started by asking about the growth in the state's animal sector.
Well, Nebraska continues to see great interest and growth in our livestock industry. We again lead the nation in cattle on feed. You know, every year I get a little bit nervous about that, but we pulled through again this year. And actually our numbers for placements look real good this year compared to Texas. And so we're continue to be optimistic there. Nationwide, the pig growth in the hog industry was about 2% on average. Nebraska, we were just under 10, so we're growing at a faster rate than the nation is, especially in finished hogs. And then we continue to see a lot of interest in the poultry industry in Nebraska, with 2 hatcheries being announced and under development, and I think in production in Grand Island, and 1 in Beatrice, and then the Lincoln Premium Poultry plant is progressing in Fremont.
Can you give me the background of how the Livestock Assessment Matrix came into being?
So the Livestock Assessment Matrix was an outgrowth of LB 106 that was introduced by Senator Dan Watermeyer several years ago. It called for the Department of Ag to work together with industry and regulators to look at how we might help farmers and ranchers understand, as well as people in that are not associated with it in counties that are citizens, understand better how we might go about siting livestock operations.
So they use a committee, right, for the matrix. Give me the background of the committee.
So we had a committee that was had representatives from county commissioners, county zoning administrators, advisors that deal with environmental issues for livestock operations, as well as producers. And they took several months and looked over how we, different counties' regulations, and then tried to come up with a matrix that had several different components that would be evaluated and largely filled out by the producer and verified by each county that wants to utilize the matrix.
Walk me through the process. So someone wants to develop some sort of animal feeding operation. What do they do? So
the key components of the matrix are, 1, are they meeting the state environmental regulations? And so the first section is a place for the producer to prove how he's going to meet those state regulations that are actually federal regulations as well. So are we protecting the environment is the first section. The second section, are we meeting the county zoning regulations? So is this building that they're asking to build placed in a location that the county has already identified as acceptable, within outside the setback area and some of those other things. And then the third part of the matrix is other best management practices over and above that the producer might employ with this operation that gains him additional points that would be needed to push him over what we recommend the threshold to be approved. And those would be like windbreaks, looking at the odor footprint developed by the University of Nebraska, landscaping, all kinds of things like those things.
And how does the county use that scoring system then?
So the county needs to make a decision on whether or not they want to embrace the matrix, and it's voluntary, so that's up to each individual county. And usually the county zoning and planning will look at it, and then the commissioners will make the decision based on their recommendations. We've had 2 counties already adopt the matrix, and with that there's varying degrees of even how to embrace that matrix. You can say if they meet so many points on the matrix, they're in. Or you can say we're going to use it as a guidance document and we're still going to go through our process, but if they meet, the thresholds, and if by using the matrix, they prove they're going to be good citizens, it's highly likely that we're going to approve them.